भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद श्री राधे। जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद श्री राधे। जय नित्य सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। जय पिता सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। जय नित्य सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। जय पिता सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा। हरि बोल Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य शुक्राचार्य श्री श्रीमती सुगंधि श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी की भक्ति देवी की सामवेद भक्तवृंद की और ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण और ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण और ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण और ग्लोरीज टू श्री श्री गुरु और श्री गौरंग और ग्लोरीज टू श्री प्रभुपाद नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु कृष्णे मतिरस्तु हरे कृष्ण ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय 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 ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Today we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 10, Vibhuti Vistar Yoga, opulence of the Absolute, text 26 to 30. So text 26. Ashvatha sarva vrikshana devarshinam cha naradaha गंधर्वाणां चित्ररथः सिद्धानां कपिलो मुनिः. Word Ashwatha, the banyan tree. Sarva vrikshanam, of all trees. Devarshinam, of all the sages amongst the demigods. Cha and Narada, Gandharvanam, of the citizens of the Gandharva, Gandharva planet, Chitraratha, Siddhanam, of all those who are perfected, Kapilaha Muni. Translation: of all the trees, and the banyan tree, and of the sages, among the demigods, and Narada, of the Gandharvas, and Chitraratha, and among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila. So, we have been discussing since, which verse is this? Since 21 onwards. Actually you can say 20 onwards. So from verse 20 onwards, Krishna has been explaining about the different, who he is amongst all the different types of living entities. Not only the living entities, but also among all the different kinds of beings. So one of the things here to understand is that when Krishna is mentioning about all these different personalities, right? So for example, in this particular verse, Krishna is saying that among all the trees, he is Ashwatha. So the fact that Krishna mentions Ashwatha indicates that Ashwatha has been given a great prominent position. So when Krishna is saying that he represents someone, that means that particular person or the thing or the living being who is representing Krishna is the highest among all those types of living beings. So for example, when Krishna mentions about the first line here, Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshana. So the trees, right? We have so many different types of trees, thousands of types of trees. And Krishna is saying that he is the Ashwatha tree. And here the Ashwatha is mainly denoting the people tree. We see the people tree, which is present in the temples and all, right? And people actually take a pradakshina of the people tree, right? So, and it is actually one of the things that is considered about people tree is when Buddha finally attained the Mahanirvana. He was sitting under the Ashwatha tree. So there is a huge significance of the Ashwatha tree. And Krishna says that among all the trees, he is the Ashwatha tree. So we can actually consider that the worship of the Ashwatha tree is happening because Krishna says that I am that among all the trees. So whenever Krishna says that, that particular thing becomes very prominent. It becomes a symbol of Krishna himself. So that is another way of remembering him as well. When he says that, of course, there is one, the important thing here is Krishna, it is mentioned in Brahma Samhita that Andantarastham Paramanu Chayantarastham. So when Ekopi Asau Rachetam Jagadanda Koti Yet Shakti Asti Jagadandataya Yadanta Andantarastham Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So that is mentioned in Brahma Samhita. What that particular verse mentions is that when the whole universe is created, the Lord is present there, and he is also present in every nucleus of every atom. So this is the important thing to understand here, that there is no place where the Lord is not there. For a person who wants to see the Lord, he is there everywhere. But for someone who doesn't understand the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord can be personally present, but they will not understand it. The example is that of Duryodhana. Or if we take another example is Kamsa. Kamsa was the brother of Devaki. So he was the uncle of Krishna. He was the mama. So even though, of course, that Akashvani came in, when Vasudeva and Devaki got married and Kamsa was going to drive the chariot, or where Vasudeva and Devaki were sitting, there was this Akashvani which came in, and it said that the 8th son of Devaki and Vasudeva is going to kill you. So why did that Akashvani come in the first place? Because unfortunately, the whole existence of Kamsa was based on cruelty, arrogance, right? So that's why. So that is what is yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there is discrepancy in execution of religious principles, the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally comes. Tadatmanam srijamya. That is the reason. Actually what happens is there is a very nice discussion that takes place between Kamsa and Vasudeva. When this Akashvani comes in, Vasudeva and Kamsa are discussing, and Vasudeva gives all the spiritual knowledge to Kamsa. He says that anyway death has to come. Either it will come as an 8th child of Vasudeva and Devaki, or it will come in some other way. Why do you want to do cruel things? Because he wanted to. Devaki was his sister, but he actually wanted to kill Devaki. Immediately when he heard that Akashvani, he was going to kill, and then Vasudeva then gave a kind of compromise solution, wherein they said that you can take the child that is born, and you can have the child. So that was a kind of compromise solution. But this is the thing. It's all, and all these things are interrelated as well. All these stories. For example, the first 6 children of Vasudeva and Devaki, they were actually cursed. They were cursed by Brahma actually to be born like that, because they did something that should not be done. So everything is interrelated. All this, when we look at this story, and even from our own perspective here, like 4 of us are here. There has been. It is not some. See, one of the things to understand is nothing happens by chance. Everything has got a reasoning behind why something is happening. The challenge is that because we are under the influence of the conditioned modes of material nature, we do not have that understanding. We just think that it is just happening without haphazardly, randomly. But nothing happens randomly. Everything that happens, there is some kind of causation, cause and effect. That's the cycle of this whole material existence. I do something, and I might do something with consciously. I might do something, and when I do consciously, when I'm a good person, consciously I will always try to do good things. I won't try to do bad things. If I'm a bad person, unfortunately, consciously also I will do bad things. But sometimes what would happen is people might do bad things unconsciously. Even though like good people could do bad things unconsciously. But the challenge is that the material existence that we are in, every action has got its own reaction. Karma. That is what is the karma chakra. So that's why Krishna mentions yajnartha karmana anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So every activity that one performs, if one performs it as an offering of love to Krishna, it does not matter what activity one is performing, because basing on our psycho-physical condition, like I got a body and I got a mind. Basing on this body and mind that I have certain duties that I need to perform in this particular life. And so the important thing here is that I perform all the duties with 100% dedication. But when I'm performing the duty, it has to be performed with an attitude that this is an offering of love to Krishna. So when that is done, there is a very beautiful verse. Kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhyatmanava prakrite swabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayana eti samarpayami. Very beautiful verse. What it says is Kayena vacha. Kayena means through the body. Vacha means through my speech. Kayena vacha manasendriyarva. Manasa is mind and indriya, my senses, eyes, nose, all the senses, 5 senses. So we've got the 5 karnendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas. The jnanendriyas are the knowledge acquiring senses. Karnendriyas are the activities through which, the senses through which we do activities. So we've got 10 senses. So whatever activities I'm doing with my senses, whatever I have with my body, speech and mind, kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhyatmanava. Whatever I'm doing through my intelligence and my own existence as consciousness, prakrite swabhava. Whatever activities I'm doing because of my nature, because I'm in a particular body, I got a particular nature. And whatever activities I'm doing, prakrite swabhava, karomi yadya. Whatever I do, sakalam parasmai. Whatever I do, everything that I am doing is dedicated to Narayana iti samarpayami. I am surrendering everything to Narayana, Shri Krishna. So, if one has got that as the fundamentals of any activity that one is involved in, then there is no reaction that is going to come. That is what is yajnartha karmana anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Krishna mentions that any activity, if it is done with that sense of love for Krishna, that as an offering of love for Krishna, then there is no reaction to that. So if there is no reaction, then this cycle of birth and death, we can come out of it. The problem that is happening is that, and it is again conditioning, because of my conditioning, whatever activity I am doing it with an expectation of something I should get in return. And I should always get only good things in return. No one will say that, I have to get bad things in return, because no one wants bad things. But the nature of this material world is such that dvandva, right? It is duality, right? So that means, what does it mean? That if there is day, then there has to be night. If there is happiness, then unfortunately there has to be sorrow also. So this is the duality. That's why a person who is totally surrendered onto Krishna, they are free from dualities of material nature. Dvandva vimukta. That is what is mentioned by Krishna. Because how they are free from dualities of material nature? Because they know surely, 100% they know that This is like an instrument. This is not me. We have given this example before, like someone has got a car, and if people start thinking that I am the car, then it becomes a very miserable life, right? If something happens to the car, that means it has happened to me. But it's not happened to me, it happened to my car. So exactly, this is what Krishna says, yantra rudhani maya. So this body is like a machine that is made up of maya. So Krishna mentions about we talked about the tree, right? Ashwatha sarva vrikshanam, and we understood why Krishna is giving the example of Ashwatha there. Then Devashinam cha Narada. This is very beautiful. So among all the Deva Rishis, all the Rishis who are like you can say there is Kardama Muni. There are lots and lots of Rishis. Bhrigu Rishi. So there are so many Rishis. So among all those Rishis, Krishna says Devashinam Narada. He is Narada Muni. Why Narada Muni? He is there in any place. If you look at Vedavyas, the guru of Vedavyas is Narada Muni. What happened was, there is a very interesting story about Vedavyas. So Vedavyas, he is actually the creator of the Vedas. The Rig, Sama, Yajur and Atharva Veda. He did that. He did all the Upanishads. He did Bhagavad-Gita. And then he is Mahabharata. He did Mahabharata. And then he said that he is still feeling Kimva Bhagavata Dharma na prayana nirupita priya paramahamsa nam ta evahi achyuta priya. So basically what happened was, he was still feeling unsatisfied. He did all those things. It's kind of amazing, the thing that Vedavyasa has done, but he still felt unsatisfied. So then Narada Muni comes in and he says that you're feeling unsatisfied because you did not describe in detail about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Priya Paramahamsanam Tavevahi Achyuta Priya. So when you describe in detail about Krishna's pastimes, then you will feel satisfied. And that is what is 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is fully Krishna's pastimes. The 10th canto. But before that, there is a lot of introduction, a lot of different other aspects that are being discussed. That's why Narada, like Vedavyas, Valmiki story we know. He was Ratnakar. He was like a robber in the forest who was robbing off everyone. And then again Narada Muni is here. He goes and asks, you go and ask your family. So he says, I'm doing all this for my family, robbing and giving it. So go and ask your family, will they be able to bear the negative consequences of this? No, they cannot. He is doing the action, he has to bear. Then he talks about, he says Rama, he says Mara, 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 Mara. He says Mara, and then it becomes Ram. And then he is constantly in that Ram, and then he just forgets everything. An ant hill starts coming up. That's what Valmiki means. Valmiki means one who has got ant hill on him. That's what is Valmiki. So this is another wonderful example, where someone who is very cruel or who has been robbing and doing very bad things has become the best saint in the whole world. So that's why one of the important things that we have to understand here is that we should never be judging anyone, because no one, we don't know. At the end of the day, everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. Whatever externally they might be, whatever they are, because of whatever karma they have been doing. But internally, they are always an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, and that can get reflected any time, basing on how that transformation takes place in the heart. So you got this example of we said Vedavyas, you got Valmiki, and then Dhruva Maharaj. Again, Narada Muni is there in Dhruva Maharaj story. Dhruva Maharaj, Uttanapad was his father, and he had Suniti and Suruchi. He had his one was his mother and another was his stepmother. And the stepmother did not want Dhruva Maharaj to sit on the lap of his father. She said that no, you cannot sit on the lap of your father. So he became so sad. He was a very small kid. He became so sad, and he wanted to find the solution for this. And then again Narada Muni appears, and Narada Muni asks him to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He becomes totally submerged in the names of the Lord, and then the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes in front of him. Then he says, Swamin Kritarthosmi Varamanayache. Oh Lord, I am fully satisfied now. I do not want anything from you. And so this is one of the things about bhakti. Especially bhakti for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. What happens is, we might go to the Lord with some desire in our heart. That I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. There is Chaturvida Bhajante Mam. It is mentioned, Krishna mentions 4 kinds of pious people come to me. One who is in distress, Arto. One who is inquisitive, Jignasu. One who wants wealth, Artharthi. And one who is in knowledge, Jnani. So Krishna says 4 kinds of people come to me. The distressed person, the person who wants wealth, the person who is inquisitive, and the person who wants knowledge, or who is in knowledge. So basically the distressed and the people who want wealth, because we are under the condition bodily existence, we are going to the Lord with that expectation. For example, Dhruva's was that he was in a distressed state of mind. But when he directly saw the Lord, he said that Kachan Vichinvan Api Divya Ratna, that your names, you yourself, are like the diamond. But I was looking for this glass. I was looking for some pieces of glass. But you are the diamond yourself. So I do not want anything from you, O Lord. So that is an example of Dhruva, and then we have Prahlad Maharaj. Again, Narada Muni was there. So Kayadhu was the wife of Hiranyakashipu, and Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb of Kayadhu, and she was staying with Narada Muni. And Narada Muni's influence was there within the womb of Kayadhu, and Prahlad Maharaj, when he was born, was pure devotee of Krishna. Again, influence of Narada Muni. So there are so many examples, and that's why Krishna says, Devashi Namcha Narada. Gandharva Namcha Chitraratha. Among the Gandharvas, Chitraratha. So Gandharva Loka is a Loka where the people are extremely proficient in singing and dancing. They are kala, the different kinds of, even painting and all those different, all the creative kind of art. So that is a Gandharva Loka. So there everyone is extremely proficient. So generally if you see someone extremely proficient in arts in this material world, you can probably say that they are coming from the Gandharva Loka. So for some reason, they have to come to this earthly planetary system, but they are from Gandharva Loka. So Chitraratha is the person who is the king there of the Gandharva Loka. So Krishna says Gandharvanam Chitraratha. And then the last one, Siddhanam Kapilo Muni. This is extremely important as well. So Siddhi means perfection. The perfection is attained when one knows one's original constitutional position as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. That is when the perfection is attained. Until then, all like for example, Gandharva Loka. The Gandharva Loka, that is perfection in terms of arts and dance and all those things. But that perfection is external perfection. What is the real perfection? The real Siddhi is, actually there is Ashta Siddhi as well. There are 8 different kinds of, that was Hanumanji. Hanumanji had Ashta Siddhi. There is Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Prapti, Prakamya, Ishitva, Vishitva. So what does it mean? Becoming smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest, lighter than the lightest, heavier than the heaviest. And he can, wherever he wants, he can go immediately. Or whatever he wants, he can get immediately. These are all the yogic siddhis. So what happens is, the yogic siddhis, when someone is meditating very strongly, with full concentration, there comes a time when they start getting all these siddhis, yogic siddhis. But these yogic siddhis are, in a way, some kind of impediment in terms of attaining the real siddhi. The real siddhi is when we are 100% situated in that understanding that I am an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. that is real siddhi, that is real perfection. Otherwise, every other siddhi is based on the material concept of life. So here, Siddhanam Kapilo Muni, Kapila Dev was a son of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Kardama Muni is one of the early stages. He is like the Manasa Putra of Brahma. Brahma's when he was creating. And Devahuti was his wife. And what happens is Kardama Muni, after some time, so you got his Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. The 4 ashramas you have. So he is actually going to Sannyas ashram, he is leaving. And then there is Devahuti and Kapila Muni, Kapil Muni, who is there. And that means the mother and the son. So Devahuti understands that Kapila Muni is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She knows it very clearly. And even though being the mother, she takes instructions from Kapila Muni. Therefore, this particular verse is mentioning that among all the perfected beings, I am Kapila Muni. Because Kapila Muni, as an incarnation of the Lord, represents that perfected person. And one of the things that is mentioned by Kapila Muni to Devahuti is that Karmana Deva Netrena Jantur Deha Upapatti. So the living entities are taking birth after birth under the influence of karma. Whatever activities we are doing, Karmana, and Deva Netrena. Also the Lord's supervision. So what is happening is, this is what is Upadrashta Anumanta Cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. Krishna is present as Paramatma, and as Paramatma, he is overseeing everything that the living entity does, and he actually, from within, he is always guiding. That is called the Chaitya Guru. So you got a Guru who is there in the form, in the actual material form, and then you actually have got a Chaitya Guru as well, a Guru in the form of Paramatma, who is always there with Atma, with us. So basically, the Lord is, so whatever activities we are doing, it is under the purview of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is also constantly guiding us. As Paramatma is constantly guiding us, only people who have that attitude of humility, who have surrendered unto the Lord, can actually listen to that guidance and work according to that guidance. Not the people who are arrogant and who are, Bhogaishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Pavrita Chetasam Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi Samadhavana Vidhiyate. Krishna mentions that if someone is totally attached to sense enjoyment and sense gratification, then their intelligence has been taken away by the material energy of the Lord. Apaharita Chetasam. Their mind has been taken away. And therefore, one does not, Upanishad gives the example of 2 birds sitting on one tree. Dvau Suparna Sanjuja Sakaya. Samana Vrikshe. The Upanishad mentions that our condition is like 2 birds sitting on a tree. So one bird is constantly engaged in eating the fruits. Another bird is looking at the bird who is eating the fruits. So basically, we as false ego, under the influence of false ego, Jivatma, are like that bird which is constantly engaged in. We do not have any. The biggest challenge in the conditioned existence in this material world is that we are constantly externally situated. We never try and go within and understand that everything is being created from within. Literally, like what happens. For example, from our own experience, we have taken this. We have discussed this before as well. You've got this Jagrata, Swapna and Sushupti, the 3 stages. One is the waking stage, the dream stage and the deep sleep stage. It's all my own existence, right? So, in my deep sleep stage, if I am in a deep sleep stage and lots of things are going on outside, am I bothered about that? we don't even know what is going on, right? When we are in the deep sleep, we are just in the deep sleep. So, and then when I wake up, then I am interacting with whatever is happening. And indirectly I am creating it. With my interaction I am creating as well. It's kind of, there is, in physics, they actually conducted this experimentation about double slit experimentation, it is called. They have in Switzerland, I think, in the underground, they have a huge laboratory where they conducted this double slit experiment. And what they noticed was the electron, when it comes and when photon comes, so photon is a light particles, right? Electron is there in every atom. So what they noticed was when the so generally electron is doing the particle and wave, so wave pattern. So what happens is when the electron is not being observed, it shows a wave pattern. It actually behaves as a wave. But immediately when it gets observed by the photon, it becomes a particle. It changes its wave pattern and it becomes a particle. So what does this indicate? It indicates that we are indirectly, so the observer has got an impact on the environment. It's kind of amazing that way. So even though we might not be participating in what's happening, but our observation has got an influence on what is happening. And we can actually become a participant as well in what is happening, right? So what I'm trying to tell here is that, the consciousness that we have and the whole thing that comes into existence is because of our Jagrat state. Because I'm awake, all these things are happening. But when I'm in deep sleep, lots of things happen, I'm not bothered about it at all because I'm in deep sleep. So this is what we have to understand here is that, and the consciousness that we have, the consciousness is totally independent of all these three states. That's why it is called Turiya. Turiya means the fourth state. Consciousness is the fourth state. So consciousness is like the basis on which there is waking, there is dream, and then there is deep sleep. So all this understanding and being fixed in our consciousness is what is actual being perfection. So that is what is Siddhanam. Siddhanam Kapilo Muni. Now we come to the next verse 27. Uchay Shravasam Ashvanam. Uchay Shravasam Ashvanam. Vidhimam Amrutodbhavam.
Vidhimam Amrutodbhavam.
Airavatam Gajendranam.
Airavatam Gajendranam.
Naranam cha naradhipam.
Naranam cha naradhipam.
Word by word. Uchay Shravasam.
Uchay Shravasam.
Uchay Shrava.
Uchay Shrava.
Ashvanam.
Ashvanam.
Among horses.
Among horses.
Vidhi.
Vidhi.
No. Mam. Me. Amrita Udbhavam.
Amrita Udbhavam.
Produced from
the
churning of the ocean.
The churning of the ocean.
Airavatam.
Airavat.
Gaja Indranam.
Gajendranam.
Of lordly elephants. Naranam.
Among human beings.
Cha. And Nara Adhipam. The king. Translation. Of horses. Know me to be. Uchay Shrava. Produced during. The churning of the ocean. For nectar. Of lordly elephants. I am Airavata. And among men. I am the monarch. Okay, so again here the example of the horses. Among all the horses, the example that is given is this Uchay Shravasam. Uchay Shrava. Uchay Shrava is and the next line Vidhi Mam Amrito Udbhavam. So Uchay. So basically, what happens is there is due to the curse of Bhrigu Muni, Lakshmi Devi. So basically, what happens is the demigods. So we got this demigods and the demons, right? Demons are generally arrogant and always doing bad things, cruelty. The demigods are good and doing pious things, and they're generally good. But what happened was, once the demigods unfortunately were in a state of arrogance, and then Bhrigu Muni cursed them and said that Lakshmi ji will go away from you. So basically, they actually lost. They became, so without Lakshmi there is nothing. Everything is based on Lakshmi Devi, because she is providing all the needed things, the opulence and everything else that we have. It's because of Lakshmi Devi. So what happens is, because the Lakshmi Devi goes into the Kshira Sagara, it has to be churned so that everything comes up again. So there is this manthan that takes place, Samudra Manthan. So in the Samudra Manthan, you got, on one side you got the demigods, on the other side you got the demons. There is a Mandara Parvata, and then Vasuki serves as the rope. Vasuki is that serpent that is there on Lord Shiva's neck. So its name is Vasuki. So basically, they have to do the churning, the demons and the demigods, and finally there is the Amrita that comes, the nectar that comes out of it. And it's quite interesting. Vishnu takes the form of Mohini, Mohini Murti, and he actually, the demons are kind of duped in a way by her beauty. So it's a wonderful Leela of the Lord. So we have discussed this before when we were discussing about Kurma Avatar, right? So there are a lot of avatars that takes place during that time. Mohini Avatar is also again taking place during that time. So Krishna, the Lord, becomes like a Kurma, and the Mandara Parvata is there, and then the Vasuki is there as a rope, and then there is demigods and demons churning. And then when the churning is happening, Uchchaishrava has come. One of the things that has come is Uchchaishrava, that horse. And that horse is considered as a horse of the Indra, the Devraj Indra. And then Airavata, the next one that is mentioned, the elephant, that is also Devraj Indra's. So another of his associate in that sense. And Naranam cha Naradhipa. The last one is quite kind of really important here. Krishna says that among all the humans, he is the Nara Adhipam, one who is the leader of all the people. So in that sense, if someone is actually a leader, say someone is a prime minister or a president, they are actually representing Krishna. But they should represent Krishna in a way, right? Through their activities, through their humility, through their service. But unfortunately, the Kali Yuga is such that it doesn't work that way. Because what is happening is, it is mentioned about Kali Yuga, it is mentioned that in the Kali Yuga, basically, what will happen is unqualified people will become leaders. Because the whole structure of the society, see what happens is, in Kali Yuga, there are a lot of, all the things that are not conducive for our betterment, all those things are happening in Kali Yuga. Dyuta Pana Striya Suna Yatra Dharmas Chaturvidha. What happens is, when Parikshit Maharaj is reigning the whole universe, Parikshit Maharaj, he is reigning. So during that time, the personification of Kali comes. And personification of Kali says that I want to be here. I want to create a bad impact. But Parikshit Maharaj doesn't allow that. So finally what Parikshit Maharaj says is that wherever there is gambling, wherever there is intoxication, wherever there is meat eating, wherever there is illicit sex, you can reside there. He gives a permission. And in Parikshit Maharaj's reign, all these things did not happen because everyone was pure. So he did not have any chance. But then, actually it is said in the Puranas as well that that finally he actually says that give me some other place also, and then he says that you can be in the gold as well, the personification of Kali. So so this is the thing, like, see, Lakshmi ji is there, right? Lakshmi ji is constantly at the lotus feet of Krishna, right? Constantly serving the lotus feet of Krishna. So Lakshmi ji, or the opulence that we have, by itself is very pure, because it's constantly in service of Krishna. But when arrogance comes into life, arrogance and thinking that this ahankara, when this false ego becomes very prominent, then Lakshmi becomes alakshmi. What does it mean? What is the difference between Lakshmi? So Lakshmi, when opulence is there, when the opulence is used in the service of Narayana, Krishna, then it is Lakshmi. What does it mean when one is humble, when things are used in service of the Lord, then it is Lakshmi. But when the opulence is there and one is arrogant and one is using it for bad things, then one is creating, difficult situation for oneself. And then one goes into that unfortunate cycle of, Tanaham dvishata kruran sansareshu naradhaman shipami ajasram ashubhan asurishva eva yonishu. Krishna mentions that what happens is when one is engaged in the sinful activities, they are bringing themselves down, unfortunately, Like, for example, one of the things that we can understand is even the lower planetary systems, lower planetary systems have got, there is no, just like we have sunlight and all, in the lower planetary system there is no light. But the light is coming from the gems and jewels and all those things. So there is opulence there, but that opulence, if it is not, if one does not have that connection with Krishna, then that opulence has got no meaning. Why? Because it is not going to give one peace. At the end of the day, it's not the external possessions that makes whatever one is. Because for necessity, just for living life, one does not need lots of things, right? Living life, even little things is enough for one to just exist in life. And even if one has lots and lots of money, there's no issue. It's good to have. But the challenge that comes is when one is not able to be peaceful within. So the problem that happens is, if I'm not connected with Krishna, and if I get lots and lots of money, I will become, I won't know what I should be doing with that money. They have actually done some surveys about people winning lotteries. What happens is, if someone suddenly wins a lottery, €1 million or something, and then if they are not ready for it, what would happen is they get into a worse situation than what they were before, because they are not able to handle it. So their health might go down, and then they will lose everything very quickly. All those things happen. This is one of the things about the Lord as well. The Lord knows when we are ready for something. I want something immediately, but the Lord actually knows when I'm ready for something, and then it will be provided to us. So that's a very interesting thing to understand. So Naranam cha Naradipam, the important point here is that the Lord, like for example, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, all those are the real examples of how the proper rule should be done. Okay. Then we go to the next verse 28. Ayudhanam aham vajram.
Ayudhanam aham vajram.
Dhenunam asmi kamadhuk.
Dhenunam asmi kamadhuk.
Prajanaschasmi kandarpaha.
Prajanaschasmi kandarpaha.
Sarpanam asmi vasukihi.
Sarpanam asmi vasukihi.
word by word, Ayudhanam,
Ayudhanam,
of all weapons.
of all weapons.
Aham,
Aham,
I am,
I am.
Vajram,
Vajram,
the thunderbolt.
the thunderbolt.
Dhenunam,
Dhenunam,
of cows.
of cows.
Asmi,
Asmi,
I am,
I am.
Kamadhu,
Kamaduk,
the Surabhi cow.
the Surabhi cow.
Prajana,
Prajanaha,
the cause of begetting children.
the cause for begetting children.
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Asmi,
Asmi,
I am,
I am.
Kandarpaha,
Kandarpaha,
Cupid.
Cupid,
Sarpana,
Sarpanam,
of serpents.
of serpents.
Asmi,
Asmi,
I am,
I am.
Vasuki.
Vasuki,
Vasuki. Translation of weapons.
of weapons.
I am the thunderbolt.
I am the thunderbolt.
Among cows,
Among cows,
I am the Surabhi.
I am the Surabhi.
Of causes for procreation,
Of causes for procreation,
I am Kandarpa,
I am Kandarpa,
the god of love.
the god of love.
And of serpents,
And of serpents,
I am Vasuki.
I am Vasuki.
Okay, so Ayudhanam Aham Vajram. And this Vajra is the thunderbolt weapon that Indra holds. And there is a very nice story about how Vajra came into existence. And so, there was a very saintly devotee called Chitraketu. And Chitraketu was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he had association of Lord Shiva and Parvati as well. So what happens is, once when he is in the association of Lord Shiva and Parvati, for some reason he actually is indirectly not giving respect to Lord Shiva, and Lord Parvati, Goddess Parvati notices it, and he gets the curse to be born as Vritrasura, an Asura in the next life. And this Vritrasura, he does lots and lots of tapas, and he gets a boon that he cannot be killed by any weapon, normal weapon. He can only be killed by the weapon that is made up of the bones of someone who is a Brahma Rishi, a Teja Rishi, a Rishi who is so pure in his meditation and in his concentration to Supreme Personality of Godhead. That Rishi, his bone, if someone makes a weapon out of that bone, only then Vritrasura can be killed. That is a Puranic story. So then, what happens is this Vritrasura becomes, he rules the whole three worlds. He actually controls the heavenly planetary system as well. And Indra wants to get a solution. So Indra is going to Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva and Vishnu, and then this is the solution that is said, that you have to, then he goes to a sage called Dadichi. And Dadichi was that sage who was totally immersed in the concentration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was totally pure. And when he was asked, he knew he is not the external body, right? He was immediately ready to actually give his bones to make the Vajra. So the Vajra is made from the bones of Dadichi, Rishi Dadichi, who was totally immersed in the Lord, right? So that's why the Vajra weapon is very powerful in that sense. And with that Vajra weapon, Vritrasura finally got killed. But interesting thing about the ordeal between Indra and Vritrasura is that Indra is Devaraj. He is like among all the demigods, but Vritrasura, because he was Chitraketu, he still maintained his devotion to the Lord. And when that time came, he knew that he is not this external body. He knew that he is a self. So he said that, yeah, you can, whatever you want to do, Indra, you can kill me. If you want to kill me, you kill me. So he was in that state of existence as well. So very interesting story where Vritrasura, even though he is a demon, he has got those qualities which make him a pure devotee of the Lord. So what it's telling us is that the externals doesn't matter. Externals, what matters is, and this is the thing, you can never, the whole existence in this material world is based on one seeing externally, right? We never understand what's going on in the mind of another person. But that is the most important thing. What's in the mind of another person is the most important thing, not the external. Of course, external has got significance because, for example, someone wearing a uniform to go to fight the war. They are in a military uniform, right? And if you see someone in a military uniform, we are always awed by them because they are constantly, engaged in protecting the country. So externals in that sense matter, the uniform and things like that. But internals are also equally important. And internals is something that we do not know anything about. Unless one is a yogically powerful person, then one might, all those siddhis that we were mentioning, the Ashta Siddhi. One of the Ashta Siddhi is that person can know what's going on in the mind of other person. That is the Ashta Siddhi as well. So here in this particular verse, we talked about the Vajra, how Vajra was made. And Krishna says that is among the weapons, he is the Vajra. And then Dhenunam Asmi Kamadhu. Among all the cows, he is the Surabhi cow, Kamadhenu. So Kamadhenu is wish-fulfilling cow. This is another thing. So Kamadhenu, this is what is the in the spiritual world. There is Chintamani Prakara Sadmashu Kalpa Vriksha Lakshavruteshu Surabhir Abhipalayantam. It is mentioned in Brahma Samhita. The spiritual world, the stones are like touchstone, wish-fulfilling stones. You got stones, Chintamani Prakara Sadmashu Kalpa Vriksha. You got the trees, they are also wish-fulfilling trees. Kalpa Vriksha Lakshavruteshu Surabhir Abhipalans. You got the cows, the cows are also wish-fulfilling cows. So everything in the spiritual world is like that. So that's why Krishna is giving the example of Kamadhenu. Among the cows, he is Kamadhu. Prajanas Chashmi Kandarpa. So Kandarpa is the Kamadev. So Dharma Viruddha Kamosmi Bharatarshava. So what Krishna says is, whatever activity, so basically we are in this material world because we have the desire, right? The desire for the material existence is so strong. That's why I got this material body. If I was purely spiritual and if I practice that spiritual nature, then I'll be in the spiritual world with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I won't be in the material world with this material body. So because there is what is that Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So the Chatur Purusharthas are mentioned in the scriptures. Dharma is executing religious principles. Artha is when we are getting the wealth, the economic development, as they call it, economic development. And Kama is sense gratification, and Moksha is liberation. So this is what. So when I am having this particular human type of body, this is what is my Purushartha. The Purushartha means I have to do the religious activities as a fundamental basis of whatever I do, and then I work for economic development, the material wealth that I want to get, sense gratification, and when all these things are, when I am satisfied, then naturally I should go towards moksha. But what happens in this material existence is, I just get stuck in, I do not do dharma properly because I do not understand what dharma is. Then I'm totally stuck between artha and kama. That is the material existence. There is the only thing that one thinks about is, I want to get lots and lots of wealth, and with whatever wealth I get, I want to engage in sense gratification. And one just gets in that circle of artha and kama, and then dharma and moksha is totally forgotten. So that is the unfortunate situation in this material existence. But the actual thing is that there has to be, dharma has to be the basis of all the activities that we do. And when we are established in dharma, moksha becomes easy. Liberation is easy. But the thing about devotee is that devotee is not even interested in moksha. Because the love for the Lord is so strong that one says that I can take birth after birth, but let me always be engaged in your devotion service. Mama janmani janmani ishware bhavata bhakti raituki. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions, in Shikshashtakam he says that, O Lord, I do not want dhanam, I do not want wealth, na janam, I do not want followers. Na sundari, I do not want a beautiful partner. Kavitam, na jagadisha kamaya. I do not want any fame or anything, any name. Then what do you want? Mama janmani janmani ishwari. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says is, I don't even want moksha. Let me take birth after birth, but bhavata bhaktir ahaituki tvai. But let me always be engaged in unalloyed, pure devotional service to you. That is, so bhakti, one of the things that is said in the scriptures is, Mukti Devi stands in front of the bhakta and says that I am available to you. But the bhakta is so much absorbed in loving devotional service of Krishna that it doesn't matter to them. Even mukti doesn't matter to them. So it's kind of amazing state of existence. Prajanashasmi Kandarpa Sarpanam Asmi Vasuki. The fourth one is among the serpents and Vasuki, Krishna says. Vasuki, as we discussed, is the sarpa that is there on the neck of Lord Shiva. So that is Vasuki. So that's why it is very prominent. Then verse 29. Anantaschasmi Naganam.
Anantaschasmi Naganam.
Varuno Yadasamaham.
Varuno Yadasaham.
Pitranam Aryama Chasmi.
Pitranam Aryama Chasmi.
Yama Samyamatamaham.
Yama
Samyamatamaham. So what the word? Anantaha.
Anantaha.
Ananta.
Ananta.
Cha.
Cha.
Also. Asmi.
Asmi.
I am. Naganam.
Naganam.
Of the many hooded serpents.
Of the many hooded serpents.
Varunaha.
Varunaha.
The demigod controlling the water.
The demigod controlling the water.
Yadasam.
Yadasam.
Of all aquatics.
Of all aquatics.
Aham.
Aham.
I am.
I am.
Pitranam.
Pitranam.
Of the ancestors.
Of the ancestors.
Aryama.
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 Cha.
Cha.
Also. Asmi.
Asmi.
I am.
I am.
Yamaha.
Yama.
The controller of death.
The controller of death.
Samyam Matam.
Samyam Matam.
Of all regulators.
Of all regulators.
Aham.
Aham.
I am.
I am.
Translation. Of the many hooded nagas.
Of the many hooded nagas.
I am Ananta.
I am Ananta.
And among the aquatics.
And among the aquatics.
I am the demigod Varuna.
I am the demigod Varuna.
Of departed ancestors.
Of departed ancestors.
I am Aryama.
I am Aryama.
And among the dispensers of law.
And among the dispensers of law.
I am Yama.
I am Yama.
The Lord of death.
The Lord of death.
Okay, so here it's kind of interesting. If you look at the previous verse, Sarpanam Asmi Vasuki. So among the Sarpas, Krishna says he is Vasuki. And in this, Anantas Chasmi Nagana. So there is so generally when we are talking, we kind of do not distinguish between Sarpa and Naga. We consider both of them as snake, right? But here there is a distinguishing that is happening between the two verses. So Sarpa is being considered as Vasuki, and Vasuki is actually residing in Patala Loka as well. But even though Vasuki is in Patala Loka, it's kind of interesting. You know, you've got this 14 planetary systems. You've got the higher planetary system: Satya Loka, Jana Loka, Mahar Loka, Tapa Loka, Swarga Loka, Bhuvar Loka, and Bhuloka. So you've got this 7. So Bhuloka is like a middle planetary system, and you've got the 6 higher planetary systems, and then you've got 7 lower planetary systems here: Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, and then Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. So 7 lower planetary systems. Patala is the lowest one, and Vasuki, even though so this is another important thing that we have to understand. Like sometimes the living entities might be living in lower planetary systems, but because they are totally surrendered onto the Lord, even though they are in lower planetary systems, it does not matter. This is an important thing. You know, so what matters is how much surrender one has towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we actually see this in Bali Maharaj's pastime as well, because Bali Maharaj is a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, and you know, he's reading, and then Krishna incarnates as Vamana, a dwarf Brahmana, and then he says that I want 3 steps of land. And Shukracharya, who is the guru of Bali Maharaj, he says that don't give anything to this person. He's Vishnu disguised as Vamana. But Bali Maharaj disregards it. And this is one of the learnings that they say, that when one is totally surrendered unto the Lord, nothing matters. Only the surrender matters, because there is bliss in surrender, total bliss. So Bali Maharaj was in that bliss situation. He disregarded what Shukracharya had to say, and then he said that he actually, one of the things that they do before they are giving something to Brahmana is wash the lotus feet of the Brahmana. So he has to use that kamandalu. That vessel in which the water is there, and he has to. But what they say in the Puranic story is that Shukracharya actually becomes a bee and tries to stop the water from coming, and Bali Maharaj picks it, and that's why Shukracharya is generally shown as one eye blind. When you see Shukracharya in the Puranic stories, after this incident, he's shown as one eye has gone. So it is because he's pricked there as a bee, and then he comes out, and then Bali Maharaj washes the lotus feet of Vamanadev, and he says, now I'm ready to give you 3 steps of land, and Vamanadev becomes huge, and then with 2 steps he has all the planetary systems covered. Where should I place my 3rd step? Bali Maharaj says, please place it on my head. And he then goes into the lower planetary system, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is there as his doorkeeper in the lower planetary system. So it's kind of amazing, even though externally Bali Maharaj might have lost everything, but actually he has not lost anything. He has actually gained more than what he has lost. And so this is one of the things. So why did we discuss this? We were talking about the surrender. It does not matter. We were talking about Vasuki. Vasuki was down. And here Ananta Shasmi Naganam. Ananta is the Sheshanag. The Balram is the avatar of Sheshanag. And Naga, so in this case the Naga means some kind of divine, a divine serpent. That is what is Naga here. So Ananta is, Sheshanag is, whenever we see Lord Vishnu, he's lying down on Sheshanag, and Sheshanag is there on the top with his unlimited hoods, and he is actually making a bed for Mahavishnu as well. And it's kind of amazing. So that is the service that Sheshanag is giving, and therefore Krishna says, among the Nagas he is Ananta. Ananta Shashmi Naganam Varuno Yadav Samaham. Among all the aquatics, because Varunadev is the kind of is the owner of all the oceans. So Krishna says, I am Varunadev among that. Then the last Pitranam, Aryamam, Chasmi. So among the Pitras, Aryama is the topmost. So Krishna says, I am Aryama. And then Yama, Samya, Matam, Aham. So among the controllers, I am Yama. Because the Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham. So Krishna actually mentions in Bhagavad-Gita as well that as death, I take away everything from people. So among all the controllers, so the greatest controller is Yama, because no one can escape death. In the material existence, no one can escape death. And therefore Krishna says, I am Yama among all the controllers. Then the last verse that we are going to discuss today, Prahadaschasmi Daityanam.
Prahadaschasmi Daityanam.
Kala Kalayatamaham.
Kala Kalayatam Aham.
Mriganam cha Mrigendroham.
Mriganam cha Mrigendroham.
Vainateyascha Pakshinam.
Vainateyascha Pakshinam.
What is the word? Prahlada.
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 Cha.
Cha.
Also. Asmi.
I am.
Daityanam. Of the demons. Kala. Time. Kalayatam. Of subduers. Aham. I am. Mriganam. Of animals. Cha. And. Mriga Indraha. The lion. Aham. I am. Vainateyaha. Garuda. Cha. Also. Pakshinam. Of birds. Translation: among the Daityas, demons,
demons,
I am the devoted Prahlada.
I am the devoted Prahlada.
Among subduers, I am time.
I am time.
Among beasts, I am the lion.
I am the lion.
And among birds,
And among birds,
I am Garuda.
I am Garuda.
So here, Prahlada's Chasmi Daityana. So it's interesting. Prahlada is the reason why Narsimhadev appeared. So Prahlada is actually the pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is actually the example of Smaranam as well. Smaranam is remembrance of the Lord. So he is totally dedicated to Krishna, but he is born as son of Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakashipu wanted to kill Krishna, kill Vishnu. And so it's really interesting. So Krishna is giving the example of demons, but among the demons, he has taken the example of the best devotee. It's like a ironic thing there, it's a total contradiction. But it shows that, the purity is what is the most important thing here. Like when one is totally pure, one is tat paratvena nirmala. That is one of the things that Narada Muni mentions about bhakti is that the purity comes when we take off all the upadhis. Upadhi means designation. So until the time I am thinking that I am this person, I am Indian, I am Irish, I am American, I am Australian. Until the time we are thinking from that perspective, the purity will not be there. Purity comes when one knows that the only designation is Jivera Swarupahaya Krishnera Nityadas. That every person, irrespective of who they are eternal part and parcels of Krishna. They are never born, they will never die. There is, if one gets situated in that frame of mind, Sarva Upadhi Vilimuktam, then one becomes pure. Then there is real purity, Nirmal. Then when there is purity, Sarvopadhi Vilimuktam, Tatparatvena Nirmalam, then there is Krishikena, Krishikesha Sevanam. Krishikena means the senses. Krishikesha means the Lord of the senses. Then we can involve, then our senses becomes pure. And with that purity, we can involve our senses in the service of Rishikesha, the master of senses. That is bhakti. So that is the definition of bhakti that Narada Muni gives. And this is what we have to understand. That Krishna, even though he talks about Daityas, he is giving the example of Prahlada. So Prahlada's Shasmi Daityanam Kala Kalayata Maham. Among the subduers and the time. So why time? Why Krishna is saying subduer? Because time heals everything, right? Like one might have gone through very difficult, most difficult situation, right? So because everyone has to die at a certain point in time, and when someone very close to us dies, we are so much in a very depressed state of existence at the time, right? Because we are in that situation. But when time passes, that depression becomes a little bit better. It doesn't go fully, but it becomes a little bit better. So that's why Krishna is giving the example of time here, that of all the subduers and the time. So time heals everything, in that sense. So that's why Krishna gives that example here. And then Mruganam cha Mrugendroham, among the beasts and the lion, because lion is considered the king of jungle, so Krishna says, and the lion. And among birds and Garuda. So Garuda is the Vahana of Vishnu, as we know. And Garuda is always constantly in service of Krishna. If you look at one of the temples, for example, in say Venkateshwara temple or Vishnu temples, you'll see that there is a Venkateshwara's Vigraha, and then in front of Venkateshwara Vigraha, you'll have Garuda there. Exactly. So Garuda has got that prominence there, because it's constantly in service of Krishna. So that's why Krishna says among the birds among the birds and Garuda. So with that, thank you very much for listening. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there is any comments or questions, we can discuss. Otherwise,
So who we talk about Bali Maharaj, grandson of Prahlad. Who is father of Bali Maharaj?
Father Virochana, I think his name is. Yeah. So there is so Prahlad's son is Virochana, and then Virochana's son is Bali.
And Virochana was not a devotee.
It is not mentioned much in the Puranas about him. Generally, what they say is the grand child gets the property of the grandparent. That is very strongly they get it, not generally from the parent. That's what they generally say. So in that sense, we can. There's not much given in the Puranas about Virochana, in terms of what he is. But I think it's always good to think of him as a devotee, I would say. It's always good to be positive, rather than be negative. Yes, okay. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll sing the Narasimha Pranam mantra. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pradagarata Daine. Hiranyakashipo Lakshaha. Hito Narsimho, Parato Narsimho. Yato yato yami tato Narsimho. Bahir Narsimho, Hridaye Narsimho. Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade. Tavatarasamalavare Natha Adbhuta Shrinda Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanubhanda Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Adbhuta Shrinda Dalita Hiranyakashipo Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol. Narasimha Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasad Vishnu Bhaktivedanta Swami Name. Namaste Saraswati Devi Bhagavani Pracharine. Nirvishesh Shunyadi Paschati Vishakari. Sarvam Shri Krishna Pramastu Krishna Nagarastu Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Jai Krishna.